Full screen, laptop power saving. Laptop power saving, dude. I've heard this option before.
Play Outlast, please.
Okay, the audio.
Chat, I made some blueberry muffins.
Chat, what is closed captioning?
Oh, you do? Okay. Here, open wide. Have you ever tried Sally Face? I don't know if you'll like it, but I personally think it's kind of punk.
Please make sure audio is on. Yeah, we're good. Controls, WASD.
Shut up and take
Left
my
click.
money.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing the Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011.
Lol.
We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since.
That's sad.
And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveyWreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Warning. Whisper machine active. Shift destruction imminent.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
Alright, boys, we need to get the fuck out of here, boys.
Security call breached. Hostile alien life forms inbound.
My bullets.
It kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere. but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not. I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
Big boys, we're running this.
Apparently this space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
Oh, come on, I had it, dude.
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
No, fuck that shit. Why don't you come down and do it yourself, bitch? I'm not doing it, dude.
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead. The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it.
Yeah,
like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
Oh, I know this is his doom. The path is behind her. Nice. I can't move.
Yep, in this game you can only walk backwards.
Okay, dude.
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete. Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
Come on, man. It becomes clearer. Dude, let me fucking... Oh, what did it say? The future is always behind her. Nice. How will she find the strength to confront it?
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
It's not even a game. You are now entering. This is like the StarCraft 1 Fog of War, dude.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting. Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games. I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like That was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
I'm slowing down.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
Nothing. Oh. You walk around talking people down from pursuing their hopes and dreams. Plants a pair of flowing eyes emitting footsteps noises.
A room that's warm and nice.
You are the queen,
and
Destiny
filled with little ideas for
destroyed.
games.
A series of lavish manuals that come with the game, giving you an incorrect instruction on how to play. A key in the game unlocks a door.
Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person.
I'd love
but that it takes time to really see that.
A normal game where you have to scream into a mic.
It can be a very slow climb to get there.
You know anything about a giant block of text explaining what's happening. Strange appears. Ah! Fuck, I heard the scream, dude. Wrap it up, Coda. Well, these games aren't really games though, they're just kind of like a level. Dude.
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it. Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're gonna see it a lot.
Three. I'm fucking rolling this shit, dude.
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. All right, now I'm going to modify the game again so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Way too dank, dude.
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
Let's not give a fuck. No, not entering.
So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
It's a debate. There's no big picture. A great and lovely descent. I like this game. This game's better. It's a nice house.
Let's talk about video game development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development. To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all
Source.
engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well.
White Source, right? I could probably fucking B-hop.
The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
Oh, it actually worked! It actually works! Yo, $50! I missed that, dude! How did that even happen? Hold up. Fuck, man. Fuck, I got tapped out. Oh my god, I almost crashed the game. Fudge, man. Damn, dude, you can actually fucking air straight with this game. Aha! Oh, come on. It's a light. Chat, give me a second. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. Yo, and PPZ, dude, I don't deserve this at all, dude. Thanks a billion times for $50, dude. That's crazy, dude. Much love, man. Sorry, chat, sorry.
xQc, hope you have a happy holiday.
You too, man. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate you so much, man. Big love, dude. Wait, I went to jail. Thanks so much, dude, for the 50 pebbles, official, man.
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that.
A full hour? Oh, come on.
This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere.
That's got
There
trouble. Triple dot again, dude. Wait a minute.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time. There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
I'm confused. One puzzle, Andy. Literally one puzzle. I'm not soft locked, am I? Chat, he said the game was gonna spice up.
Here, Coda begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
Listen. 1, there's a bullseye witness. 2, there's an enormous prison I spent hours in. Yes, there were the floating blocks. You there. Did you come from up above? What was up there? As well, you've been there. Listen, speak, listen. This is important. Did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Sure. Perfect. Now please tell us how you solved it. trust me, don't want to go over there. Oh no, but I do, we do. We need to get there, do you understand? It's the most important thing in the world. If they say this prison, there must be an ending. I promise you, there's anything I want more. What? How did you get here? Was there a puzzle you had to pass through? No, I've been here the entire time. So just you go and see the puzzle sometime. It's not meant to be solved, but you can sit in the black space in the middle. Why? Oh, it's plenty peaceful. It may not seem that way at first, but you come to think so in time eventually. Okay. We sit there then? Fuck it.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
Yeah, you go faster when you do that. Dude, look at this. Who the fuck is this guy? Dude, this looks like the Tony Hawk level. Chat, am I crazy? The Tony Hawk level.
It's a lamppost. Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason, Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think.
School.
I think that up to this point, you know, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them.
Okay.
And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
Haven't you played it before? I'm getting deja vu. We played a lot of games similar to that. Yeah, I'll turn the music down a little bit. This game is connected to the internet. As you walk around, you can leave notes. All notes you see are left by the players. Mic's too far away. There you go. Fixed it. Better now? Dark Souls. Nice room, not.
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're going to see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person.
Hey!
In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy, trying to get his attention.
I want to tell you a secret?
I was over-enthusiastic.
Once upon a time I did.
But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me.
I'm looking at the
and I cooled off eventually. Oh, feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them. Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be
somewhere
played.
In this place. Said I was looking for it.
But it's ironic, isn't it? That in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me.
I need to go to the freaking bathroom.
Play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing.
Whoa, wait a minute.
I could just get to know you through your work.
Go back.
I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much. Is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
Open sesame. Open sesame. Open sesame. Okay, all the guys I tried. Someday I'll meet the person who made this. I help people because of the internal good feeling I get. New room, Pog. You hear the chimes? I would like very much to be desired. It's not very crowded here. Scared of writing something, don't want to feel so judged. Don't bother. You can go in there, I think. Congratulations! I don't really know where to go with this. Let's just go forward. Stop, turn back, proceeding further will only result in misery. Take my hand, let's jump together. I can't. Cabbage shaped ordinations. What's the painting? Doesn't matter if you ever get over there. Hey, don't talk about me that way. Very good game, Cap. This is not going anywhere. Next time I'll do better. Need someone to talk to. He said that twice already. This is the note? Question mark? Those are the other notes. I'm not safe. This is useless. Stop faking it. I'm not faking anything. What's on this guy? Art. How's it going, guys? Just hanging out. I'm trying to speak. I think it's about how things look messy from up close and perfect from far away. True. From up here, it just looks like dots. Cabbage shapes our nation. Doesn't mean anything. Stop pretending you are other people. I'm not pretending, dude. Maybe I'll feel real someday. Well, I'm here now. Yeah, we're all here now. Nice. I'm not pretending. There must be a reason for it, though. His terrible secret, he kept it well. I beat the game. Good one, dude. More room, huh?
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again.
Scared of
And
writing
here,
something.
I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one.
Wish there were notes in the real world. True. Become one with the spiraling nonsense. Downward, keep digging.
In each of his
out,
games,
man.
after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult,
Close your eyes
Coda can then
and the
place
wish
this
were really
puzzle
bad.
that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands
dinner.
exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on.
We'll have a solution then. I've been for learning now and help. Does it make sense? The second floor won't open. Shit, how do you solve it? Dev, answer please. How?
And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here. To step back and connect the pieces together. To grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
So what's the takeaway here? Is that you need to close the other chapter in order to move on to the new one? Otherwise it doesn't work? That's my take. Yo, way too dank, dude! Way too dank. I did something. I can't be anything. Just need you to say something. Talk to me. Why are you having so much difficulty talking? Speak, speak, speak. Ah! That's pretty dank. Porn stars.
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
Prison and a well in the sky. Okay, what does that mean?
See, like, this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
What furniture ought to go in the center of the room? Giant hole in the ground. What? Okay, now how about along the wall in the room? Let's put a huge picture of a horse. 10 stoves. But those aren't even stoves, though. I think we should light up this room. LED ceiling light. Boom. That is not what I ordered at all, dude. I need a table. Tables in 1935. Hell yeah. Finally, dude.
There's a bit more to this one, but still it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake.
True.
So okay, he throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
Hello, please look forward. This guy will enable you to escape the prison environment. Follow the instructions carefully and take care of your remember. Click it. Alright, now what? Okay, go over to the photo frame and click to turn it slightly. Now turn the floor lamp in this room off. Turn it back on. Scoop! Scoop! Now go to soda and move it over a little. Finally touch the shelves. Scoop! That's it. In a real prison, the escape will now open. Return to start to be taken back to your prison. That felt like the tutorial on how to reset your
And of course,
your
now the
lamp.
table is gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape.
Remember that?
Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them. Personally, I think it's awful to watch this, to see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working on? But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop, that particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
Okay. Spooky. Looks like Harry Potter 1. Hello, who is this? It's me. I'm you from after you exited the prison. You're me. You were trapped in this prison too. I was a furniture maze.
It's a conversation. And so this is what Coda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows. But the irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself. You know, all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
I forgot, dude. I forgot what it was like. Really, how long has it been since you got out? A few minutes. But this is the worst, most desperate thing I've ever been through. How could you possibly forget it? Promise, not as bad as you think it is. Anything is infinite when you're drenched in it, true? Wait, if you're me, then did you get a call from another version of you when you were trapped? No. Then you can tell me now how to get out. Maybe I can find you. What do I have to do? To get out, all I have to do is be sincere. To get out, all you need to tell me how you feel right now. To get out, just talk with me for a bit. What? That will free me? How does that work? Oh, makes sense. Okay, I can talk. Let's just talk for a bit. Will you be here? I will be here for as long as you need.
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice?
True.
So what would it look like if Coda wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself?
That'd just be scary.
To me, this environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle, with the two doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
This feels like Death Stranding. Clean. Oh my goodness, I'm glad as all heck that you showed up. Thought I might be having to clean this entire house all by myself. And right miserable that would have been. When those lonesome hands and make lousy homes.
You'll notice that the quality of the art is a step up from previous games, including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
Much nicer, that's the table I want to see. Would you please run to the bedroom and make me a bed? Sure, man. While you're here, I'll just straighten out the rug a little bit. All the little details matter. How'd you end up doing this job? Interview Andy. Friend dragged me along at a time when I was really desperate for cash. Now, I've never felt so good doing something for money in my whole life. Never did like cleaning my own home. Might have got some demons I ain't ready to face yet. Speaking of demons, someone put this couch all in a mess. Would you come and straighten in the pillows? Sure, man. Oh dear, looks like someone spilled a drink on the couch. Yeah, I got it, dude. Let me mop it up. I feel compelled to share this incredibly cheesy personal insight. You okay with that? Make it way more cheesy, dude. Trigger chat. Chat will get real triggered. Here it comes. No, okay. Never mind. Thanks, dude. All the dishes need to be washed. Why don't you come do that? Okay. So I checked the tub needed cleaning. I have to do all this by myself. No need to be perfect. We're all just human. There's books here on the floor in the bedroom. I got it, dude. Put back in the shelf. Perfect. I better come and clean the dishes off the table.
After the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing. It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful.
Whatever work you do, you have absolutely got to own it, otherwise it owns you. So why don't we be with the task at hand, leaving the future chores to future?
I know that CODA really liked this game. Of all of his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was like grossly happy all the time, just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
Present, you want to smooth out the rug. I just did that. Earlier, when I said I had a really cheesy thought, I was gonna say that it occurs to me that one's house is a lot like one's soul. You take care of it and it takes care of you, eh? Don't know why I felt so weird about saying that. That's pretty cheesy, dude. Uh-oh. Stinky. Anyway, so, housekeeping. The books. Got it, man. Since this guy's not to clean, but I have to do it for him. Go on, man.
I'm glad he made this. I'm glad he found some peace.
Would you go over to straighten up a bit? Question.
But, of course, it can't last. The music stops, your companion is gone, it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
Okay. Sure. I'll keep moving then, fuck. It's cold out there, man. I was happy that it was hot and shit.
Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move.
True.
I really thought that was the point of it.
Items you love.
This one gets a
members only
bit
prices.
goofy.
Why'd you come in here today? Was it to improve your life? Was it to get a better job? Was it to make your relationship more meaningful? Nope. You came here to become perfect. This workshop is going to teach you how to be perfect. I want your friends, the people in your life, to look at you and think, wow, this person is a better human being than I am. Right now, who do you think about that way in your life? Who do you know is well developed as a person that make you feel disgusted with yourself? Pokemon. Compared to whom you feel useless, selfish, ungrateful. Timmy Tapman. I intend to make you that person. Perfection is within your grasp.
About halfway through the
question
game,
is
the
not how we do
perspective
it,
shifts.
but how we do it effortlessly. This is easy. So easy. Being perfect is effortless. This is the key. How
And
to
you
achieve
play
it
as
with
the
no
teacher.
effort.
And suddenly, you discover that your teacher is just as bigoted and afraid as you are. Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
Thank goodness. All of you perceive me as being wise and intelligent. True. Do you understand that you won't be happy until you love me? This is for you. Seek out only one thing. What is easiest? Simplest path forward. Simp option. Voice. Ah, just kidding. 77,070. What if I'm not a good teacher? Do what is easiest, do what is simplest, feel what is true, no, not true. Somebody's coming out! It's coming for you, it's gonna show you. Everyone run.
I fell pretty hard for this one. I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have. To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way, and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human. I think about this game a lot these days.
Somewhat true.
This one took a lot longer than all the others for Coda to make. It was 4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this, and it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little strange at the time.
Hello guys. Fucking hell, dude. The scene will be playing as me. We are at a gathering of professionals. First, you'll start by leaning against the wall. Stay right there. The woman across the room in this chair is a professional photographer of animals. It's your dream to photograph animals professionally. This is your one chance to learn something from her, to gain something to succeed. Go on and say something to her. Hello. Hello, that's it? That's not a conversation. You need to actually converse with her, like a human being. Do it again. Here are all my hopes and dreams. No, that's not what I said to her at all. Completely missing the point of the conversation. I was reserved, but I knew what I wanted. I was confident. For some reason, it was just that one moment, but I was confident. Maybe it's that you need a better feel of the setting. There were a lot of people around us. I'll give you some props to work with. These cones that bounce when you touch them represent the people nearby. Talk to her again. You must have worked really hard to get where you are. What are some sacrifices you have to make? You'll freak her out if the conversation gets to that personal that quickly. You don't realize how important it is for me? I'll never get another opportunity like this. Everything was... Okay.
The game ends with this eerie premonition of what's going to happen next in Coda's life. The solution to social anxiety, to fears of having to perform and having to chase success, the answer for Coda is to withdraw, to hide himself away. Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago, where it just becomes harder and harder to access Coda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself. And to be honest, I didn't consider it very healthy when I first played this game. You know, it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting yourself from the world. And that wasn't what I wanted for him or for his games. Because I feel like a lot of his games are inviting me to connect with this person, to bring him closer. But what can you do? After this, Coda went off and took another 5 months to make a new game.
Pog! Here it comes, boy. It's CS. Mobius strip. This probably comes from the thing of a Mobius strip. Playing properly, you must keep your eyes closed until the beginning of the game. Should I do it? Just so we go down to I'm not cheating. Ready for this? Did it start? My eyes are closed even under the hood. I don't know what to do.
You should probably open your eyes if you haven't already. It's pretty much impossible to solve otherwise. And there is a solution, by the way.
What happened? Activate shields, we're gonna crash. What's going on there? I'm gonna start to speak something that is honest. Oh, come on! Oh, come on! Fuck you, dude! Something that's honest. That's the truth.
Like I said, I was getting concerned. First off, he's never been this explicit in his work about exactly what he's thinking. So where's that coming from? But then even weirder, his work has potentially stopped being an outlet for him. Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but he literally just can't think of new ideas anymore.
That's sad.
And in person, he was being a lot more distant than usual. Like, you know how sometimes a person will just deflect anything that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected all the time? It was that kind of thing. Here was the point in my relationship with Coda where I really started to wonder if he needed my help in some way.
I thought it was going to be easy. I haven't been honest. I can't figure out how to say the thing. It's working. Pog. I'm alone. We're gonna be okay. Pog.
His games are going to get more desperate from here on out. After this game, it's almost 6 months before he finishes something new.
That's a long time. What is this? Hello? How'd I get the fuck out of here, dude? There it is. Is that a person? How lovely. It's been a long time since I talked to anyone. ... What's wrong? You look lost. I'm completely out of ideas. When I try to create, I feel empty. I have nothing left to give to my work. Okay. He gives you options, but they're all what he feels, I think. Did something change? There was a machine that kept me going and it stopped. I'm trying to find this engine that used to protect me to start again. Wait, you're looking for a machine? I don't know where it is. It isn't far. What? You have to make it. You have to take me to it. What?
If the last game featured Coda talking explicitly about his creative frustrations, this one turns it up to 11. Now, put yourself in my shoes playing this. Here's a friend whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety, depression, even. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore. Why? What is it for?
Can you help me solve the puzzle? Or find the machine? You can help me solve the puzzle. Doesn't matter what I say, does it? I'll get up here one way or another. Yep, that's exactly how I feel about the game right now. And it says deal for me. Come along, I'll show it to you.
Because from my perspective at the time and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them onto the internet, and so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on.
Wonderful. Tell me how to do it. First, you have to open the door. I have to close the first door. I have to open the first door. What's next? Now just close the first door. I just open the first door. Press the switch here. Ha! That was so simple, dude.
You can't talk yourself out of loneliness. It doesn't work that way.
I can't believe I never saw this.
You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation. If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash.
True. What is this? I need to see it to know why it stopped. Deal. This is easy. Here we are. What are you talking about? There's no machine. Just words on the walls, man. Trust me, you'll see. You have to say that your work is fun and easy. To say that beginner development is simple and joyous and that you love 100% of the time. Just open the door. That feels wonderful. But it wasn't true. Why did the walls just crumble? Don't buy that, just keep talking. Keep saying that creating is easy. When I make games, I feel completely energized. I'm constantly excited and enthused about my work. It is easy and never stop being easy. Easy! It's wonderful, keep
Seeing
going.
this game at the time that he made it, it looked really unhealthy to me.
Such a simple solution.
I was watching him do this to
feel bad.
himself, and I hated it. I hated seeing him so trapped.
Every time I make something,
It's like, video games are not worth this amount of suffering. This is someone I really cared about.
that feels fantastic.
And I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst thing for me.
Where's the machine, dude? Patience, you have to trust me. I promise this will work. Let's continue. Okay. Pain and bruises effortlessly off of me. Any sacrifice made for my work are worth 100% of the time. Easy.
I don't know. This is what I felt at the time.
There is no shame, no fear, no guilt. I will be safe by my work.
I wanted it to stop more than anything. I had never felt so wrong. I needed more than I had ever needed anything for this to stop.
Just stop. Stop. I'm free. The prison again.
But it didn't stop. After finishing this one, Coda takes another 7 months and comes up with a new game.
Uh-oh. The machine, it's finally here, boys. It's finally here. Ma'am, glad to see you arrived safely. You've captured the machine. It's waiting for you now. You can begin interrogation whenever you like. I intend to be quick. Speedrun Andrew. Should be warned that someone called the press, so we might have a bit of attention on this one. Also, one more thing that you should know about the machine. It's called itself Coda. It's not gonna close. What am I gonna do with it? I just give it to the machine. Will be punished. What's the machine? Why don't you ever explain? Ma'am, hello. When will I get the answer? What will you do with it? I don't fucking know, dude. I don't know what it is. 5 gets up by DT17. Thanks so much for an episode, man. You stopped.
And of course, it's the machine.
Your war was fitness alive, man. Why'd you do it, man? We're champ. There's people out there. Can you imagine that pain you've been through? It was only because of your creations that any of us could make it through every day. How could we possibly go back to trusting you to do this job? Bitch. So here's what needs to happen. You need to go to the people who are out there and apologize to them. You have to admit to the people that you allowed them to suffer. True. No, nothing? Think carefully. I know how to hurt you. Bitch. We're gonna torture it. I'll speak in for you. My friends. It falls. Let me deliver the bad news. They're gonna kill the messenger. The machine will not apologize to us. The machine refused to admit the ability to hurt us. But this is not important. We're stronger than it thinks we are. We'll find a way to live without it. Let's pay retribution. Let us show it that we are not failures. Follow me. We will destroy the machine. Follow me. We'll destroy everything that the machine has created. Let me think about this one. It doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter, does it? We're back here again. Bang!
So now the work is becoming self-destructive. And I'll tell you, at the time that I first played this game, shortly after he made it, here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking that Code is stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games. It might get him out of isolation.
Everybody's dead.
And so, as I'm thinking this, I realize that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Coda to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for him? if he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work?
That's the game. No!
So I started showing Coda's work to people. I took this one, and the islands which you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games. I brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games. You know, the point of it all was just to give him some external reference point, but they genuinely loved his work. There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
Sure, dude. Good one. Put down your weapon.
Can you see why I felt like this was the right thing to do? Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need, to be told that my work is good, that I am good. When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels better. And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend. I did something, I really felt like I'd done something good, like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem.
That's not what he
They
wanted.
told me how much they enjoyed his games. It was the best feeling. It was the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy. So beautifully, beautifully happy.
Bang!
So anyway, Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while. So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Coda ever made. So let's take a look.
The tower.
And this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Coda's work. Because more than anything else, the tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world. It's a very cold game.
Some of those are not even games though. They're just a level and you can walk in it.
This room actually has a maze in it. Except that all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise. So the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played. It actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But I do want to show you the rest of the levels, so when you're ready to continue, press enter and I'll put a bridge over the maze.
I can do it. I can't. Fuck you. What is this? Some sort of... I heard that. Nuke?
And to be fair, it's not like this is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable. Like the house cleaning game. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just cleaned a house forever. I had to cut it off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end. But that game had an idea that it was actually trying to communicate. What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze? The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. like the invisible maze, it's frustrating to me, because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me, except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on.
151617. We're doing it, boys. 5, 6, 17. Got it. Hey, yoink! Hey, easy. Why is it saying Pepega clap? Why is it saying Pepega clap? I had it. Don't Pepega clap me, yo.
The switch to open this door is actually on the other side of the door, meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side. So even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first 2 challenges and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress. And it's scary for me, the idea of Coda cutting himself off entirely, just saying, you know, that's it, that's the end of the conversation, not giving me any way to fix the problem. I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem. But I can open this door for you, so let me do that.
Thanks, man.
Was I a failure for not understanding this game? I mean, I don't know why I would be. It's not like everything needs to have a solution, but I
know
feel
it,
it
chat.
somehow.
I know it, chat.
I feel like I failed, and I don't understand why.
The first puzzle, every step is a mistake. The second one, there's no real answer to the problem. And then the room is, there's no escape.
I remember, it's June of 2011. I'm playing this for the very first time. And as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is. It wasn't the guy I knew, it wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them... I had been trying to, though. That was the thing. For years I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was and what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean.
The 3 dots, remember the 3 dots?
And he wouldn't. I just felt so strongly that if I could have connected with him, that if I could have somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all happy. It was that I needed to see myself in someone else. I needed to be someone other than me. But he stopped and left, and it felt somehow like I had failed. Where did I screw up?
Dear Davey, thank you for your interest in my games.
I'm the reason that you stopped making games, aren't I?
I need
because
to
of what
ask
I
you
did.
not to speak to me anymore.
Poisoned it for you. I don't think I ever told you this, but when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt... It felt as though I were responsible for something important and valuable.
I want times whether you think I'm making these games for you. Smiley face. You're so infected.
And the people who played them, they treated me like I was important. They really listened and cared about what I had to say. Even though I was showing your work, I felt good about myself. Finally. For a moment, while I had that, I liked myself.
Why is he leeching? You've so infected my personal space that it's possible I did begin to plant solutions in my work somewhere hidden between games. If there was an answer, a meaning, would it make you any happier? Would you stop taking my games and showing them to people against my wishes? Giving them something that is not yours to give, violating the boundary that keeps me safe. Would you stop changing my games, stop adding a lamppost to them? Wait, he made the lampposts.
And then you stopped.
Would you simply
and I didn't have anything left to
show?
show people. I just had to be with myself.
When I'm
And
around
as
you,
soon as that
I feel
happened,
physically ill.
there was no feeling at all. Nothing.
You desperately
than
need
nothing.
something, and I cannot give it to you. I
What
literally
does
don't have
that
it.
mean?
Struggling to come up with new ideas is not making me depressed. Low points are just a part of the process. The fact that you think I'm frustrated or broken says more about you than about me. Damn, dude, that's pretty deep. I realize that this doesn't make sense to you just yet. Which is fine, you're not my problem to solve. But I do hope that one day
I'm
it
afraid that I did
clicks
something really stupid because I don't like myself.
and that you make peace with this thing you're wrestling. And when you finally see what I'm talking about, don't say anything. When you finally see what I'm talking about, don't say anything.
That's why I'm releasing this collection of your work, is because I haven't been able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything. And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people will play it so that it'll find its way to you, so that I can tell you that I'm sorry. I know I screwed up. If I apologize to you truly and deeply, will you start making games again? Please, I need to feel okay with myself again. And I always felt okay as long as I had your work to see myself in. I mean, is something wrong with me?
That's even worse.
Because I know that I did an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like, I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, start making games again. Please help me. Please give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. And I want to know I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading.
Chat?
And all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
Now what? Epilogue. Wait, that was the intro to the game as a tutorial. Nice, dude. Long ass tutorial, dude.
More love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm good. Always more. It's like a disease.
Well, I'll break the cycle then. Your game sucks balls. I'm bored as shit. Pussy. Trash. Your voice is fucking annoying. Fucking narration, dude. It sounds like you have something in your fucking mouth, dude. Get a new mic or get a new voice. Holy shit. Stop making games overall, man. And somebody's gotta tell him. Too far. That's not too far. It's not far enough.
Solution.
No, we're champ me. We're champ him.
I guess if someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate. I wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed.
Okay, chat. Jesus.
Maybe he just likes making prisons.
This staircase sucks.
Even now, the disease is telling me to stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are. They'll hate you.
True. Too late, man. What is that? It looks like a collapsed fucking mall parking. I hate mall parkings, they're annoying. I only like them when it's raining.
If I knew that my life depended on finding something to be driven by other than validation, what would that even be? It's strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like.
So he needs a validation, and he admits to it, and the other guy didn't,
What
and he
now?
couldn't relate to that. So he felt like there was a flaw because the guy didn't want validation, or didn't need it.
I think I need to go. And I'm sorry, because I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot that I need to make up for. And so I'm just gonna... Okay.
Peace out, man. Is it gone now? We're good? Thank you. Paul. I wonder if there's something hidden in here, dude. If you like I had like fly mode or some stupid shit like that. Look behind the walls, inside the assets and shit. Like an Easter egg somewhere, you know? Woo! Oh, come on, dude. Oh, thank you. What's in there, dude? Yo, wrap it up, Davey. This is like the beginning, except there's no LCD screens and doors and shit. Davey, weird champ. Guys, I can't wrap it up. He made the game, dude. I can't wrap it up. Oh, I fucking knew it, dude. I knew we were gonna fly at some point. I called it, dude. Did I not? Now you're gonna jump in and you're not gonna die. You're gonna start flying because he reproduced the glitch from the other game, and then you're gonna start flying and you're gonna see the whole level, and there's gonna be something hidden in there somewhere. Oh, you guys see Papega? Is it question mark? Just watch! Just watch, motherfucker. I was right. We're not gonna die here, we're gonna do the glitch in the other game, and we're gonna start flying, we're gonna see the level from a third perspective, and there's gonna be something hidden in there, some sort of meaning. Sucker. sorry, chat. I can't. Like, turn it down. I can turn it down. Oh.
Turn back from this cave.
For R dot.
You said let me
would
prove
have not been possible
that
with the following
I'm
individuals.
brave. Let me keep going.
Jesus. Richard.
But the cave goes for miles.
Turn back. Written by Helena Arone.
Miles and miles. And you're so tired. But I know that you're strong. So turn back. Turn back.
That's it. Wait a minute. But the game is $11. Yo.